we're going to split up into different areas.
Even a £2 carp is acceptable on this lake.
On the spots I'm going to fish, I've just seen loads of silt get kicked up.
And my left rod, the bobbin just hit the top.
Matt, you do this thing, right, where flat hand, you do this on this rod, on this rod, We're here to catch, and that's what we're going to try and do.
Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are back at our usual lake in Surrey. We are doing a very short session, just under 24 hours, about 22 and a half hours in total, to basically try and get at least one of these fish.
We're only here for a short period of time, so that was the main thing. So I'm set up with Matt and my brother Callum. And the thing is, we normally fish quite socially, so it feels a bit odd when we've got the pick of the lake to go, oh, okay, we're going to split up into different areas, but we're here to catch, and that's what we're going to try and do.
I'm over in swim 9, which is on the right hand side of the lake. Callum, Liam's brother, is over in swim 1, and Liam is fishing in swim 4.
There's Matt. Matt's waving at me right now. In fact, let's get him on the camera. Big wave from Matt. Love that. Matt, get the camera out, get the session vlog going. You never know what's going to happen. Get it done.
We've learned so much about this lake over the last 5 years of fishing it. One of our biggest lessons across that time was keep it simple. You do not need to overcomplicate it to catch.
Midway through getting the bivvy out, it's raining. So I thought, let's get the bivvy out first, and then I can, start getting the rods out. And we're just off the back of a session at Norton Disney, where you can use lead core, whereas here, there's a strict leader ban. So I've got to set up 3 new rods on the choice of rig, which is going to be naked helis. However, midway through setting up, on spots I'm going to fish, I've just seen loads of silt get kicked up, literally right here. So now I've got the decision, do I just throw caution to the wind and just get the rods out now and hope it doesn't just absolutely hoon it down, or do I finish getting the bivvy set up but then potentially miss a chance to catch, which really is what I'm here for. So, as you can probably tell right now, I'm getting the rods out and I'm just going to start fishing. A little talk through the spots. So we've got one rod here. This is my left-hand rod. Generally does quite well. And then I've got my middle rod here. And then my right-hand rod is just off to the right. You can't see it, but it's underneath a willow and next to some pads.
Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with all of the final details of everything that I'm doing, but it is slightly different to the type of fishing we've been doing in the last week. On all 3 rods, I have naked heli setups with Ronnie rigs on them. The reason being is because we know that this lake is a little bit silty, but there's not really much weed out here whatsoever. It's all fairly clean areas. So all 3 are fishing that, but the biggest difference is we've gone super small hook baits on this. So we're using a mixture between 10 mils and then we're also using a mixture of kind of single corns and that kind of stuff, because the fish in here, they know they're being fished for. There's not that many. It's such a low stock pit. There's probably only about 40 to 50 fish in here total, to about 4 acres. So there's not that many in here. Hence why we're going for a very low-key setup. Hopefully, with this setup, we're familiar with it, we're used to it, I've fished this swim before, hopefully we'll be in for one. When I went to put my first rod out, I laid that onto a spot which is just out there to the right of a tree, and it's a usual spot that I've fished many times. I've caught a couple of times off it as well, and I laid it down there, proceeded to set up my second rod. Felt good about the spot already, I was feeling confident, but whilst I was doing that, my left rod, the bobbin just hit the top of the alarm. I pulled into it and it went tight for a second, and then that was it, it was off. But if there's something I can take from that, is the fish are in the area.
Right, so the rod's out and it's 7 o'clock, which means the mosquitoes in the minute are absolutely rife. They are everywhere, and the downside to filming at night, well not night, but as it's getting dark, or dusk at least, you need to use a light, else you can't see me. And do you know what mosquitoes love? Big panel lights like this, which makes me enemy of the state #1, or at least their favourite thing to swarm around. Matt, you do this thing, right, where when you sit by your rods, you sort of you do flat hands and you do this on this rod, on this rod and you sort of do a bit of touching it. Hopefully you've seen that clip by now, if this makes it. Or you'll see it coming up. You'll see him doing some of this. And on this rod, we've got this. And on this rod, he's sort of doing like a hula. But anyway, as I said previously, it's just quite nice to be sat in, trying to catch. And it's a change of pace. We're off the back of Norton Disney, which for me and Matt was spent in a double swim. So to be honest, I'm quite glad to have some time away from it. This lake is very much a case of a bait and wait. When we were chatting to one of the guys at Norton Disney and a couple of people recently, it's very much a case of when you're fishing lakes like that, if your rod's not doing something within half an hour, it can be easy to think that you're doing something wrong because everyone else might be catching. Whereas here, I mean, it's really a case of leaving your rods in. Now mine are out, they'll stay out until tomorrow, 24 hours unless I'm changing the bait. We're only doing a 24-hour session, so once they're out, they're out. The next time they're being reeled in is when I'm leaving or I'm catching a fish. I've got no rods out. I'm out of fish, so I had a decision to make. Do I go and give him a hand or do I just watch from afar? But being the good friend I am, I reeled the rods in, ran round, gave him a hand.
First thing the next morning, I was woken up to a pleasant surprise with my middle rod having a few beeps here and there and then eventually backdropping. I was into a fish.
£17.15. Take that. Anything on this lake is acceptable. Even a £2 carp is acceptable on this lake. Okay, here we are. Very short session, but I am very glad to have had at least one. This one came in at £17.15. Right side of the aerator, just to the left of the reeds. It was on a single 10 mil wafter. But yeah, it was a really weird bite because it kind of went up, then went down, then went up, then went down, and then didn't do nothing for about 2 minutes. And then it just pulled tight and I was like, I'm in. It's good to have at least one. That's saves a blank overall, so buzzing. Thank you for the battle, my guy. Took out another rod. He's a lovely golden colour, isn't he? Now then, off you go back to the depths. Love that.
Now, it's time to get the rods back out. Also, give the swim a bit of a rest. It's quite high pressured here, so there's actually some value in reeling your rods in for a couple of hours or an hour, just to kind of, give the swim a bit of a rest. I don't know the exact ins and outs and science as to why, maybe less lines in the water, let other people do some sort of splashing around, and then hopefully they kind of feel a bit safe around here. So when I get my rods in with my boat and I'm all stealthy, we're gonna catch.
Well, we've had one, which I cannot complain about. But it did, however, take out 2 of my rods. And as you can see now, my line is all like fluffed and it's gone all nasty. So I've got to like strip some line off, get it back to looking, might be a nice clean line again. On my on these knots, I always do seven wraps around the line, and then I always do 1 for luck, so 8 in total. And it's just always been a thing that I've done since I was a kid. Right, well look, I'll catch you in a minute when I go and put these rods back out, because I also got to change the battery on my camera. So I will see you in a jiff.
The rods are out. So quick little recap of the night. It was slow, to be fair. There was a few beeps in the night, but it's hard to say really what it might be. There's some crayfish in here, so whether those little backdrops and forward takes are fish or crays is hard to say. But we have had one fish from the bank side. So Matt's had a fish. We're only here for another 2 hours. So the idea really is not to put big patches of bait in. It's to try and nick a bite before we go. So they've all gone in as singles. They're on spots that I know work. So let's see if it works.
As our short session came to a close, neither of us had any further action. Just catching one in such a short session like this is considered a success.
So yeah, that's the end of our session. I think we're going to get the bivvy packed up and get it all sorted. Yeah, it's been around 18 hours in total, so it's not quite a 24. Yeah, we arrived yesterday afternoon about 4 o'clock. So yeah, we want to be off by about midday. Yeah, before the rain starts absolutely hammering it down. But look, we've managed one. Can't complain there, especially on a lake like this. One is enough, especially in such a short session. That's that. So overall, a successful session. Thank you for watching. Do like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and we will catch you on the next one.
Session wrapped.